Okay, so I'm going to treat this as if it is my personal journal here for a moment, because that's what YouTube is. This is my personal journal now. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of the lying at every single level of my life. It is just lies and liars and deceit. The biggest lie, I think, that started helping me shift from a naive sense of naturally believing people. I've always wanted to believe people. I've always been gullible or naive for believing that people are telling the fucking truth. But as I have gotten older, and especially over the last few years, and especially through the bullshit lockdowns and all of this, I've realized more and more just how much lying is going on. Constant lying. Big picture lying, all the way down to personal life level lying. Lying, lying, lying. Lie, 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 lie. Nobody tells the fucking truth. And especially nobody ever tells the truth with their face attached to it. What's that quote? Give a man a mask and he'll tell you the truth. That's for pussies and cowards. Where are the men who can tell you the truth to their face? Knowing that it might be attached to their brand or their money and all of this. And let's talk about money here for a second, because from my perspective, what's supposed to be happening for me is I'm supposed to make money, whether that be through a job or something else. I'm smart enough to have built my own skill that I can market and make money on, so I don't have to work a job, which was good, and part of the reason I haven't gone insane. But the idea is, hey, work a job, make some money, and then you're gonna get a mortgage, and then you're gonna do that. You're gonna pay off this mortgage. But, if you're getting a mortgage in 2025, you are a dumb fuck. You have no idea what's going on. The amount of inflation that has happened, if you go back and you look at the M2 money supply, look up the M2 money supply for the US, and you see from 1971 onward, it has just been money printing insanity. And not only that, the big shift that happened for me was the 2020 money printing, right? When the stocks went crazy up, and crypto went crazy, and all the whole housing market doubled in value. And that was really when I realized, oh wow, it's just so fake. All these people who, see what happened is everybody's been playing Monopoly since 1971, way before I was born, right? Everybody's been buying all this real estate and trading it and letting the prices go up and up and up and up and up, while at the same time also inflating the money to death. So all these boomers and all these Gen X that thought they were getting rich on paper because they bought a house in 1978 or 1983, and wow, it went up in value and all of this. Sure, it went up in value and all this, and at the same time, the inflation has just been absolutely stupid. And obviously wages and stuff have not followed that, because the purpose of all of this is not to make people rich. It's to keep people in a state of fear and pain and struggle and paycheck to paycheck living. We don't exist in a society of people that actually care about us at all. Our country was sold out long ago to bankers from Europe. And now we live in the hellscape of a international banking cult that has control over everything. And they get to be nameless and faceless. And we exist inside of their ecosystem of Walmart and Target and Publix and Chick-fil-A. And there's only actually 30 stores and businesses that exist. And they're just repurposed and redone over and over and over. And you can go to different countries and see the same thing. Like, why is CVS in France? I went to Paris in 2022 and they got CVS. Why? Why in the world would France, like, aren't they a separate culture? Don't they do their own things? Well, no, because the same people run everything. It's just the same banking cult, banking elite that runs everything. They have the same stores, the same thing. This corporate takeover, it's just the same. And then I'm supposed to live inside of the system, paying off some mortgage, that also, the mortgage value only exists because I signed up for it. And so then the bank prints the money for free out of nothing, only off the strength of my signature, and now I'm supposed to pay off fake money that only existed because of my signature? What the fuck? And everyone in America has to pay money to live where they are, right? You can't just be a human being on God's green earth. You have to pay some fucking asshole money. You know, I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing that made me really upset kind of all at once was realizing the depth of Hollywood lies, realizing the depth of the secret occultism happening in Hollywood, while also at the same time watching people lie about me in court. I haven't seen my son at all well, I've seen him one time. So I got arrested in October of 2023. And that began a series of insane lying, defamation to my character, restraining orders, protective orders, all of this garbage. And this just elaborate, constant scheme to paint me out as this ultimate evil villain. And ultimately keep me away from my son. And using my son as a tool to try and control me. Try to twist my arm, make me bend the knee, all of this. Through lies, through constantly lying about who I am, lying about my character, even lying to get me arrested. Because I got arrested because I was accused of assaulting someone. And that person then continued in all of these later court hearings and things to add to their insane story of lies over and over and over again. Because they couldn't quite get me, right? They had to get me. They had to get me over and over and separate me from my son. Because this is the thing, right? First off, don't ever sign a marriage license. Do not ever sign a marriage contract. If you want to get married and you're in love with somebody, that's awesome. Be in love, be married before God. But do not sign a marriage contract. Because that just makes your spouse a fed in your own home. You know, there was a moment where I was still going along with the court system. I was still consenting to this insane court system that also, first off, the court system is not the courts of the Republic of the United States of America, like people like to act like it is. That's not what the courts are. They are not courts of the Republic of the United States of America. They are courts of the United States Corporation, which is a business specifically built and privately owned and called the United States Corporation, the U.S. Corporation, the U.S. Post Office, all of this. When you see like the U.S. Army, all of this, that's a corporation. That's not the Republic of the United States of America. So just so that you know, all of you people working in the court system, all you people working in the military, I hope you know that you're working for a corporation and that you're not actually working for the republic that you believe you are working in. And so when I was still consenting to this court system and they gave me domestic violence classes to take, even though I was in there on a misdemeanor assault, it wasn't even a domestic violence case. But anyway, they're still trying to push all this crap on me because there's just insane lying constantly coming from the other side. And so I went into a couple of these domestic violence classes, and when I'm inside them, I'm just watching these guys talk about how their wives are threatening to call the police on them again if they step out of line or any of this. And I'm just listening to these absolute subservient men talk about how the court system plus their wife, who is just another extension of the corporate arm of the U.S. court system, is keeping them subservient, is keeping them submissive. They are living without an ounce of respect from anyone. They get no respect from their wives. They get no respect from the government that is that they are supposedly a citizen of. It's just blatant and insane disrespect up and down. Constantly. Imagine these people. Imagine these guys. Men across America continuing to live with these women that are threatening to call the police on them jokingly. Ha 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 ha. If you mess up, I'll call the police on you. It's like, fuck you, bitch. Just bounce. Go live in the woods. You might as well do that. Because there is no America. It's all owned by this European banking cult. Really what we should have done, they built the wall at the wrong spot. We don't need a wall between us and Mexico. We need a wall down the freaking Atlantic. Keep these Europeans out. But anyways, yeah, and then the police can of course not be trusted at all. They are also an extension of this corporation, and they're all Masonic. So they're literally engaged in a secret society, and they're also working for a corporation, not for the Republic of the United States. And then they want respect from me? No! You don't get respect. So the police can't be trusted. The court system can't be trusted. The court system listens to liars, especially lying women, and listens to their word no matter what. And as long as you're the man, you're the bad guy, and you're going to have to bend the knee, because that's the purpose of the court system, right? Men are the power force, right? We are the electric force. Women are the magnetic force, right? Men are the one that, make crazy decisions and are, right? It's the men that have to be made to be subservient. It's the men that must be humiliated. It's the men that must go through the humiliation rituals. because it is the men, and especially the young men of a society, that are the power of that society. And you must make sure that you keep your young men especially subservient, humiliated, and in line so that you can control them. And that's what we have now. And you control them in multiple ways. And a huge way of doing that is ultimately by the government having the power to remove you from your children, right? And this is what Kanye was talking about. May he rest in peace. For those of you that still fucking think Kanye's alive, and whatever that prosthetic mask wearing weirdo is that they're trying to say is Kanye, who's obviously not Kanye, this guy didn't have a single talented bone in his whole body. I don't know where they grew this guy. I'm sure he came out of some weird elite lab somewhere, trying to act like it's Kanye. That's why they got him touring in Korea in all this fog and smoke so that you can't see him. That's why they won't have him touring in America, because the second they did, every single Kanye fan showing up at the concert would be like, clearly that guy's not Kanye. That's why they have him giving you little stupid snippets out of Switzerland. Interesting too that it's Switzerland. But this is what he was upset about, right? This is part of the reason he went so intense. He didn't go crazy. He just really doubled down into his truth. Why? Because his children were being separated from him. Never come between a man and his kids. Y'all don't got enough security for this. Y'all don't got enough security for this. Right? That's what he was upset about. The fact that these agents, managers, call it whatever you want. Call it the government, call it the agents, call it the managers. It's just people that actually have the power to separate you from your children. But that's what he was upset about, right? And there's a reason why he was honing in on a particular group of individuals as the problem. It's that same particular group of individuals that also have mass control of finance, not only in America, but all over the world. Because they're connected directly to the banking system. The same banking system that comes out of Europe. And is connected to Rome, and is connected to London. Right? The Roman Empire never fell. It just became a church. Became the Vatican. Sure, the people of the Roman Empire might have fallen into pain and suffering and famine and chaos, but never the elites. No, of course not. They rebrand. That's why the spells work, right? That's why it's all words. That's why words are so important. The Roman Empire fell. That's a spell. It gives you a certain sense of history. Oh, all those powerful people, they're gone. They don't have any control now, even though America has a Roman Senate and a Roman Capitol Hill, just like Rome has the Senate and they have Capitol Hill. And it's the same thing, because America is Rome and still owned by Rome. That's why we have the eagle. And then the British Empire didn't fall, it just became a bank. It consolidated its power as well. And so then you just have these different power consolidations. And then you have DC, Vatican, London, and probably somewhere in Switzerland that become just the core places to control this international empire and make all the goys subservient. There's this clip of what's that comedian's name? Jerry Seinfeld. There's this clip of Jerry Seinfeld making this joke about Jewish businessmen. And in the joke, you notice that he is searching for, he starts to be like, two Gentile businessmen walk up to each other. And it's like, if you watch the joke, He's searching for the word that isn't goy. He's searching for the word that isn't goyim, right?
It's the greatest Jew joke I've ever heard, that I love. You're not going to get it.
Okay.
Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay, then you'll get it. The setup of the joke is it's a Jew joke.
Okay.
Two Gentile businessmen meet on the street. One of them says, "How's business?" The other one says, "Great." See, he gets it. He's Jewish, he gets it. Yeah. You're not, you don't.
Because the Jews call us the goys all the time, right? That's their racist word for us. Because they're super racist. They might be the most racist people on the planet. That's why they make it seem like the white people, it's the white people versus the black people. No. That's another false dichotomy set up between the other group, right? That really has the most cultural and religious and ethnic ties. And they keep everybody out, right? You can go to a Christian church right now if you want, but can you get into a synagogue right now? No, you're a goy. And it's those same people that bomb the Palestinians to death, run Hollywood, run all of the New York finance and law. Right? It's all of this over and over and over again. Right? Then you've got AIPAC, all in Congress, all control, right? It's just like, there is no America. That's a lie. We live in a global international society where arbitrary lines are drawn on a map and then shown to fifth graders in a classroom to make them believe that they live in this country. It's just not the case. And let's talk about World War II for a second. A couple of things about World War II. Two things that I can't wrap my head around. Number one, why is the leader of the Aryan movement a brown-eyed man? I thought the whole thing was like, oh, the blue-eyed, blonde people, blah, 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 they're going to rule the world. Why was the leader of that movement a brown-eyed man? That doesn't make any sense to me. Unless he was a puppet. Right? Because he was a puppet, because he was installed. Because the eagle's head needs two wings at all times, Republican and Democrat, Axis and allies. You always need the two wings, and the eagle's head leads from the center, right? Why was Switzerland neutral? Why was Switzerland neutral in World War II? Okay. You just get to call neutrality? When you have a literal world war happening, the entirety of Europe is enthralled in this war, and you just get to say, hey, I'm neutral. Switzerland just gets to say they're neutral, even though they're literally by Italy and Germany. They're literally surrounded by and in the middle of both sides of the Axis and Allied powers conflicting. Right? You've got France and Britain on one side, you've got Italy and Germany and these on the other. And Switzerland's supposed to be neutral. Why didn't Belgium say, hey, we want to be neutral too. Hey, don't blitzkrieg us. Hey, don't move all of your tanks through Belgium after the French built that big wall trying to keep the Germans out, and then the Germans just went through Belgium, right? Just decimated Belgium to get into France. Why didn't Belgium say, hey, we're neutral? And then Germany would go, oh, wow, that's so great. Okay, yeah, you can be neutral, sure. We won't do anything, because Switzerland said, no, Switzerland had all of the money. They were controlling both sides. Switzerland was the place where the war was being run by the people who were actually running the war on both sides. That's why it could be neutral. That's why neither side would go into there, because they knew who was really running things. They knew that at the center of all of this was someone who was trying to make both sides fight. They knew that there was a group that was wanting to see ultimately what was a mass genocide. World War II is a mass genocide of taking these two sides, the Axis and Allies, and just throwing all of their good, strong, powerful men at each other so they would kill each other for no reason. And they fed both sides narratives, lies, and propaganda so that they would do that. And they ran the war out of Switzerland. And the Germans, for whatever reason, bought the idea that a brown-eyed man would be the leader of the Aryan movement. You know, I'm going to just say this. The real leader of an Aryan movement would have blue eyes. At the very least. You know? I mean, come on, right? Doesn't that just track? Doesn't that just make sense if you use your noodle for 2 seconds? But no, so like we have been existing in this system of insanity for quite some time. And I'm not even getting into the Tartaria stuff. I'm not even getting into what the Industrial Revolution actually was. I'm not even getting into the whole literal genocide of America and making everybody orphans, and who even knows what was happening in the 1800s, in the 1850s in this area, right? We don't even know how crazy it was because they've changed all the history. And don't even get me started on the moon landing because I've talked about that already. But it's just, our entire history is full of lies. Our entire media is full of lies. The trajectory of work your stupid job and pay off your stupid mortgage is insane and full of lies and is built to enslave you to money. And then you have the court system that wants women to lie against the people that are involved in their family so that they can continue to make those men subservient to the court system, subservient to the United States corporation. And then the judges get paid with all of that, right? They get to get their sweet, sweet checks, right? Because it's all just part of the banking system. It's all part of Rome. It's all part of this international cabal of Satanists. And don't even get me started on the whole abortion clinic stuff and the fact that it was literally mass media for a long time that they were taking alive babies from these places and selling them off and all of this. They told us that on purpose, right? That was intentional. We live in a satanic society. And so it's quite demoralizing to be like, okay, well, in light of all that, just be a good old boy, work your job, survive another day, eat your poison food, which don't even get me started on the food, because all the food is poison, not just kind of, but intentionally poison. And then they tell you in movies like Kingsman that they're putting all this nasty stuff into the food. Oh, it's just a movie. Yeah, that whole it's just a movie idea is so that they can tell you what's going on without you actually freaking out. That's the point, right? They want to embed it into your subconscious so that you are still consenting. And so it's like how many more lies do we take and still act like everything is fine and still act like we're just gonna work in these industries continually going forward? We're gonna work in the old industries. We're just gonna take that paycheck. We're gonna do everything for money. We're gonna live in a society that has no social ties, no familial ties really outside of maybe some immediate family. No fraternity other than secret societies that want to humiliate you. No court systems that have any level of fairness to them whatsoever, that have absolutely zero respect for their own citizens. where women get to act like victims and liars, and that is celebrated and just assumed to be true regardless of any substantial evidence whatsoever. You can just come in, lie, and then withhold a man's children from him without any actual evidence of any real kind. And that's just the world we live in. And so now I'm supposed to spend the next, who knows how long I'm supposed to spend the next, 60 years? Just getting a paycheck? Put it in stocks, get some stocks. It's like all of it's just so fake. They have played with the money too much. Now we know it's all fake. And the nail in the coffin was that freaking pandemic inflation spike. After that, man, it's just been every single purchase is painful, right? You can't buy anything anymore and it feel like you're getting a good deal. Nothing. You can't even buy a freaking coffee and it's not $5. And it's full of poison. And it's a poison milkshake anyways. So you're not going to get wealthy. Any wealth you do try to accumulate will ultimately be taken from you, especially if you're like playing markets and this sort of thing. It's going to be taken from you by guys that just know more than you, have more money than you, and are getting more up-to-date information about market movements than you are. Okay, so then you can pick your corporation, which they're all the same. Oh, are you going to work at Target or Walmart or a law firm? It's just all the same system, right? You're all working inside of the United States corporation, just in different levels. Because ultimately, all these businesses are just subsidized with debt. We don't have an economy based on any sort of hard money. Our entire economy is just based on debt and financing and refinancing and getting a little more for this and blah, 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 and kind of paying off a loan and then getting another loan and then refinancing that loan to do this and then to get the APR on it. It's just all insanity, and it's just financial instrument games. And you can't even get groceries that are made on the same continent that you're on. Like most of the groceries that we're getting are from China or are from South America, right? They're put on these big ships and shipped across the ocean to us. And it's like, even if you live in a little town, if you're still going to Walmart to shop in your little town, you don't live in a small town. You're still living in a global society. Because everything that you are interacting with, everything that you're buying, everything that you're feeding yourself with is from literally another continent, which is crazy. Why do they do that? Well, because they want us to be stupid. They don't want us to know how to grow food. They don't want us to know how to live in a village. They don't want us to understand how to have a commune. They don't want us to have any sort of self-respect. They just want to constantly humiliate us because we are not of the elite. We are not of the dominant religion that is often also an ethnic and racial religion. Which is why, it's funny how the news media, which is owned by, had all this, racism, blah, 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 right? And that's them projecting, right? They're the most racist. They're the most racist. But they project that racism and then they blame it on just regular white people trying to get by and say, that's the real racists. Not any of these people that have actual positions of power and influence and are literally part of a cultural and ethnic religion that literally does not allow any Gentiles in. That's the real racism. And then have you noticed all of these all of these sort of culty offshoots? They're all Judaic, right? Like you get the Jehovah's Witnesses, or you get the Mormons, or what's another of these well-funded culty Judaic things? Those are the two big ones, right? That's what I see the most. JW.org and the Mormons. right? But they're just these well-funded cults that are Judaic. Or you get stuff like the Yellow Deli. There's a Yellow Deli here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's its own sort of religious sect. They have their own sort of strange rituals and things. Also, by the way, for those of you that are local, the Yellow Deli in Chattanooga happens to have strange tunnels right nearby that you can go into. And those strange tunnels lead right into the local university, UTC, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Why is it that there are strange, big tunnels that are supposed to look like sewers but aren't really? Going from a deli that is a known religious sect, I'm sure they wouldn't love the word cult, so we'll just call them a religious sect, that goes right into a university. Well, that doesn't seem super safe to me. That almost feels like they're recruiting. It's also kind of strange that religious sect has its home, where they all live, right by a Jewish synagogue. Also really weird. That's just down the road. Also really strange. And the Yellow Deli, they believe they're it's the same kind of thing. They believe they're the lost tribe of Israel, right? They're all Judaic cults. They're all connected back to that kind of foundation because they all get funded. They get their money through that institution, that religious institution. The synagogue of Satan. And so I find it really hard these days to set goals like continue a career. Have a career. It's like, fuck you. Save, and invest in your portfolio. Fuck you. And then you've got these people that want to flee America, right? They end up like, oh wow, they realize they're getting followed around their town by the Masons. They realize that the nameless ones run the financial world, the elites. And they go, oh, okay, well then I'll go to Belize. I'll just, I'll go to some other country. I'll go to Thailand. But it's like, really? That's your solution? Run to some other land, assuming that you're getting away from this? No, all you're doing is surrounding yourself by foreigners. And that's it. You're not making yourself any safer. You're not making yourself any harder to get to. You've just surrounded yourself by foreigners and further isolated yourself. And you know what? The connection between the Masons and Christianity, especially even in this town that I'm in now, Cleveland, Tennessee, it's quite unfortunate. There's a university here with clear Masonic symbolism around it. And it's like, why is it that this Christian university has Masonic symbolism? Huh. Why would a Christian university use and have symbolism and association with a secret society that one of the elements of your ascension in that secret society is the renunciation of Jesus Christ? Why are you doing that? Why? Who's making that decision to be a part of this? Well, the answer is simple. It's not really a Christian university primarily. It is a university of money and masonry first. And I'm kind of singling them out. But, yeah, I mean, I'm singling them out. And there's other churches around this area. Like, there's literally churches that you can drive by. There's one that I'm thinking of in particular, that literally in their sign, you can see the Masonic square and compass. It's like, you're literally showing in your logo that you're Masonic. And yet you're calling yourself a Christian church. And then everybody around is like, oh wow, you're crazy, you're crazy. You're crazy for looking at things that are obvious in front of us. And it's like, no, I'm just not lying. Everybody is just lying. All these strata, it's just constant liars. And a lot of times liars look at people that don't lie, or at least do their best not to blatantly lie and live in lies constantly. And they're like, oh, look at these gullible people. Oh, they're so gullible. we can get them to do whatever we want. They're so gullible. It's like, no, you're just evil, actually. You're evil. You're an evil liar, and you're a monster. And again, you know, I mean, I've already done the moon landing rants, but the moon landing is so important because it just shows you how blatant and stupid they think, how blatant they can lie and how stupid they think you are. Is that they will lie on this massive grand scale. Tell you we went to the moon. Buzz Aldrin was a Freemason. I don't know about Neil. You know what? Neil Armstrong probably wasn't. That's why when you watch my podcast and you've got Bart Sabrell trying to get Neil Armstrong to swear on the Bible they walked to the moon, what they probably did was they got an actual, I bet you they got an actual Christian to be the absolute front of it and then Masons behind. So that Neil could be the face and he could wear the guilt. He could carry the guilt. And they could kind of hide behind him. But, I mean, Buzz Aldrin was a known Freemason. Masonry is what... George Washington was a Freemason. All of the founding fathers were Masons. And this is a Christian nation? No, it's not. I'm tired of hearing that. Christianity, especially modern American Christianity, it is a fast food version of whatever used to be. It's not a true coalition. It's not a true fraternity. People give the Christians and the Crusades a hard time, but hey, at least they were unified and together. At least it was clear who was with them and who wasn't. Although, again, you know, already the Pope, I mean, it was already and always was just power and insane chaos and all of this. It was never pure. But the point stands. You know, at least they had some fraternity. But now we have no fraternity. If you don't want to join an evil secret society, well, good luck finding your fraternity, brother. Because you're not going to find a ton of strong men in Christian churches. Not genuinely strong. They might seem strong. They might have a lot of money. They might seem like they've got some influence. But are they truly men of strength? Are they truly men of truth? You only find out when they're tested. But yeah, man, I mean, I think once I realized that, not only, I mean, I knew sort of with a head knowledge, but once I actually went through a situation where the court system just allowed other people to lie to me without it, or to lie about me without evidence, and just kind of did that. Then I was like, oh wow, yeah. Don't trust any of those people. Never trust the police. Don't ever say as little as humanly possible to the police. They are not your friend. They are not your allies. Literally assume they are literally agents of a foreign entity. Because that's what the United States Corporation is. It's a foreign entity. It's not American. It's not of the Republic of the United States of America, even whatever that means, still founded by Masons. Every time I stop smoking weed, I feel that rage in my heart again. Every time. And sometimes I get scared of that rage. Like, oh, I have to be a good little boy. I can't say anything that's out of line. I gotta make sure I suppress myself and I don't use my voice, so that I'm a good little boy. But no. I'm clearing my body of the things that have weighed me down or made it so that I feel like I can't speak my truth or any of this. And I will not wear a mask either. I'm not going to hide on some little anonymous forum. Because I don't need status from any of you people. I don't need approval from any of you. And I can't remember the last time I met a man older than me that I genuinely respected him as a man of truth and power. There have been, but the older I get, the more each of these people, they're just knocked down, knocked down, knocked down. Other than maybe Kanye, but, he's no longer with us. And, he was too connected to the old world, right? He signed the contracts, he was involved, he married an evil witch. And that's what happens when you sign 360 contracts and marry evil witches. It doesn't end up turning out super good for you. Even if you do start to tell the truth more and more and more, you're just too far gone. I think that's just what happened. Quite unfortunate, but hey. Maybe that's his karma, right? For doing all of the darkness, because he sacrificed his mother. He even says so. He says, my mother was sacrificed. Why? Well, he probably consented to that, which is crazy to think about. There are so few men of truth. There are so few men worthy of respect. And everyone my age, I'm 27. I'm nearing 30. And everyone my age still feels like children. Children getting married getting their mortgage for their plastic house that costs way too much. It's just, imagine getting a mortgage in 2025. What an adult thing to do. What an absolutely fucking stupid thing to do. If you were going to get a mortgage, you should have gotten one in 1982. You weren't alive? Well, too bad.